Greetings everybody. I am making a video summarizing basically the first 150,000 miles of this 2014 Mercedes Benz GLK250 Bluetec. I bought it with 144,000 miles on it, and I figure it's close enough to 150K that we'll just call that a rounding error. Say it has 150K on it for purposes of this video. So you're probably watching this video because you wonder how reliable one of these is, and it is actually, I think, probably one of Mercedes-Benz's best built cars since probably the 80s and 90s, when they used to really build good cars. Now, that being said, there's a couple caveats there, which I'll get into. So basically, for the first over 100,000 miles, this car was basically trouble-free. It had dealer service every 10,000 miles or so, and the transmission oil was changed at 63,000, and then I changed it again shortly after I got it. The coolant had never been changed. I changed that when I got it, but it had regular brake fluid changes. It went between 10 and 14,000 miles between oil changes, but I think it only went 14,000 miles once, and that was right before I got it. But still, it's very clean, no sludge. I looked under the oil cap. It looks very nice. So what has gone wrong with this car other than normal maintenance like brakes and tires? I think the brakes lasted over 100,000 miles actually, if I recall correctly, something like that. The first issue it had was there was an error with the level sensor / heater in the DEF tank, and it seems like the DEF tank is an issue on pretty much every modern diesel, no matter who makes it. There are definitely cheaper solutions, but they had that repaired at the dealer for, I want to say it was like just under $2,000. So that happened, I think, at 109,000 miles. It had somewhere over 100,000 miles. It had a couple sway bar end links that needed to be replaced, but we could probably just consider that a regular maintenance item. It had its, I believe, its first battery last year, so the original battery lasted like 8 years, which is really surprising for a diesel. Oh, we got some major stuff going on here. Interesting. I've never seen anything like that before in that particular location. So let's see, I'm gonna go this way. Then the other thing that went wrong, and I believe it triggered the countdown, the start countdown error, and I believe this happened at 135,000 miles, was the DEF injector failed. I don't know if it got clogged up or whatever. That particular thing was covered under the AEM emissions warranty. I've done some other videos talking about what all that covers. This car is still covered for about another 19,000 miles with, it covers a lot of stuff actually, so check out that video for details. Now, one thing that will definitely fail on this car is the rear subframe. That is a very common thing on these and a lot of others. I did a video about those, so check that out. Due to rust issues. That's covered by a 20-year warranty. It has not failed on this one yet, but it is definitely starting to get crusty, and I did a video about that. And there's something going on with the front suspension. It kind of squeaks when I go over bumps at low speeds or hit the brake and shift the weight of the car. It just passed state inspection about 5,000 miles ago, and it's been doing that noise for about 2,000 miles. I got under there and I didn't see anything loose, so I don't know if it's just something that's creaking. I'm going to keep my eye on it. Probably get another inspection on that. Let's see if I can replicate it. Yeah, you can hear some knocking there. Let's see if I can do it again here. And it's hit or miss too. That's the other thing. Like sometimes I'll go over bumps and I'll hear it. Other times I won't. Since I bought it about 5,000 miles ago, I haven't had any issues whatsoever with it. And you know, the one thing that really surprises me is there's not been any emissions issues. I mean, other than what I mentioned about the DEF related issues, there's not been anything gone wrong with any of the sensors or DPF or any of that kind of stuff, EGR or whatever. I haven't found any leaks to speak of. The only place I see oil leaking from this car actually is where the charge air cooler meets the intake manifold. And I don't have any boost leaks because I still have full power. I did an acceleration video on this, but I may have that checked before the extended warranty expires because the intake manifold is covered. One thing that I read is that the intake manifold on this particular car, and that may be because it has two turbochargers, doesn't have swirl flaps inside of it. So that's on a lot of modern diesels, that's one common thing that goes wrong. But this one won't have that issue since it doesn't have that. So I think that alone makes it more reliable. There's some common issues out there that people are posting about with the OM651 around timing chains and stuff like that. I suspect that's one of two things. I haven't had anything like that. It started cold and it's perfectly quiet from the get-go. I think that may have to do with either using the wrong oil, or maybe that's earlier versions of the OM651. But I've not had any issues like that. It has basically the full performance that it did when they were new. I did the 0 to 60 videos with my race box to actually time them. So, you know, overall, given that this is 10 years old and just under 150,000 miles, it's been amazingly reliable. And I saw something on a forum where somebody posted that they have 300,000 miles on one of these with very few issues. And you know, I think that's a good indication of what I can expect moving forward with this one. It's pretty different than the OM642 6-cylinder engine from the same era. That has a lot of issues. I think largely around oil leaks that are very expensive to repair, that happen at relatively low mileage. But you know, again, those are also going to be covered by the AAM warranty. Now, that being said, some of the more expensive things are not covered by the AEM warranty. Like, for example, I have heard of people getting the DEF heater / level sensor covered under the AEM warranty, but it is not specifically called out. So I think if you have one of these with the 2.1 liter engine and you have that fail, maybe you can fight to get that covered, but I wouldn't count on it. It seems to be pretty hit or miss, and depends on the dealer and whatever. You know, maybe if you push and fight, you can get that covered. That seems to be something that will fail on all of these eventually, and I'm actually surprised it lasted as long as it did. I think it was 8 years. I think it was like 2 years ago that happened. Thinking about the repair history on it, but yeah, so that is it. I would absolutely recommend one of these to anybody as a reliable transportation. I advise that you find one that still has the AEM warranty on it and has already had at least the DEF tank heater replaced, or plan that in the budget if you get a good enough deal on one. But other than that, maintenance is important, at least on things like the transmission oil. I'm uncertain what I want to do about the differential oil. I've heard mixed things about whether or not you actually need to change it. Now, the one in the front does not have a doesn't have a fill plug. It may not even have a drain plug. The one on the rear does have a fill and drain plug. I may change that. Don't know what I want to do about the front one. Somebody made a video about filling it through the vent hole. You can drop the alternator to get access. I may look into that. I don't know. As of now, there's no leaks from any of the differentials, and there's no issues, no sound coming from any of the differentials. And I did see a video where somebody did change their differential oil, and even after 100,000 miles, it still looked like brand new, clear and everything. That's kind of making me think that maybe that is truly a lifetime fluid. I don't really believe in lifetime fluids in general, and I don't know much about differentials. So if you have any thoughts on that, go ahead and comment them below. All right, well, I think I've rambled on long enough. For those of you who have made it this long, have a great day, and thanks for watching. I did forget to add one thing, and I actually just recently did a video on this, but underneath the car, around the area of the trunk floor, there is some rust starting. It's starting to blister, and you can check out the video I made on that. It's not something you would normally see unless you were really looking for it. I would say after a couple years it would probably perforate holes into the trunk floor, which is definitely not something I want to deal with. And it looks particularly concentrated around the areas where they have mounted things in the trunk. There's some sort of a gizmo mounted in the trunk onto the trunk floor, and wherever they screwed the self-tapping screws through, that's largely where it's starting to rust and blister. And also it's just starting to blister in other random parts underneath. So yeah, that's the other thing. So I think mechanically it's way better than like the body build. Yeah, but I think if you keep after those things with the body, then yeah, I actually think this car will probably turn into a pile of rust before the engine stops running and the transmission stops working. Yeah, assuming you don't take care of that sort of thing. But yeah, I just wanted to, for the sake of being complete on my video, wanted to add that at the end.